بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم بارك لنا في جمعنا هذا واجعل جمعنا جمعا مغفورا له يا أرحم الراحمين، واجعل تفرقنا من بعده تفرقا مرحوما يا أكرم الأكرمين. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وتقبل منا وتب علينا يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك الثبات حتى الممات وعند الممات وبعد الممات يا رب العالمين. Actually, I would like to tell you a little story that really bothered me so much and hurt me so much, and that's why I was hoping to have this particular session. I walked into one of the places like a Zaytuna or something, and a gentleman, I did not recognize him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me and forgive him and forgive all of you. And he said, Sheikh Abdullah, Assalamu alaikum. Wallahi, I did not recognize him. I said, Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. He said, you're still here at the Islamic Center? I said, Alhamdulillah. This is the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on me. He said, are you still teaching Siyam, Salah, Zakah? You know, you get these vibes, you get this, you know, Allah yabarik feek, wajzika khair. I said, do you have a problem with that? He said, Ya akhi, come on. Wallahi, I'm not telling you anything more or less. He said, Ya akhi, come on. We're done. For God's sake, we're done. Everybody knows how to pray. Everybody knows how to make zakah. Everybody knows how to make siyam. Move out of it, ya akhi. Do something else. So honestly, I started getting hurt. And then I said, what do you mean to teach people? What do you mean to talk to them about? Wallah, this is too much, akhi, wallah, for me. يعني حط لك واحدة ثانية معلش أمرك لله.
Is it his birthday or the rest of us are getting it too?
Say what?
Is it your birthday or the rest of us are getting the same treatment?
Wallah, they gave me this. I don't know what I'm going to do. You want some?
Well, he knows you were mad, so he's trying to calm you down.
So anyway, he said, talk about something more. Talk about something important. I really got hurt. I said, Akhi, what is more important than the salah? Tell me what's more important than the salah. He said, Ya Akhi, I'm telling you, we've been talking about this for 30 years. I know you. Everybody knows how to make salah. I said, listen, maybe it was not a good idea. I said, I have $100 here. It is for you. If you can tell me the pillars of the salah, I'll give you $100. It takes you 2 minutes. The things that you are accusing me, we're talking to people about the salah. Since you know that everybody knows how to make salah, you tell me what are the pillars of the salah, and I'll give you $100. He said, are you kidding me? I said, no, I'm serious. Right now, everybody here in the Zaytuna will be witnessing. You tell me the pillars of the salah, and this $100 halal for you. He said, Salaam alaikum. I said, Wa alaikum salam. Now, what do I want out of this story? I want out of this story that some people may be doing something that will put them out of state of Islam without them knowing. One of the items today is being sarcastic of the rituals of Islam. ذلك بأنهم اتخذوا آياتي ورسلي هزوا. You make mockery of any ritual of Islam. You know, that would put you out of the state of Islam. Do you know if somebody get out of the state of Islam, what does he require? He requires repentance, tawbah. And then declaring the shahada one more time, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, and going home and taking a shower and come back. It's like he was in kufr, then he became a Muslim. As if it is brand new. It's very important. Two people, they're having a fight over a car sale. I saw that, in the auction. Two Muslim brothers. And one told the other, and he cursed him, Sabb ad-Din. You make Sabb ad-Din, which some people, they say that all the time. Astaghfirullah. It is easy for them. And somebody told me, I said, Ya akhi, in the auction there, when somebody, Sabb ad-Din, Sabb ad-Din. Is it clear?
No.
He cursed Islam. They said, may Allah billah, condemn your deen or your religion. This is what we call, the Arabic people, they know it is.
They go that too.
ما فهمت.
Some people condemn that, سب الرب كمان يا رب.
Astaghfirullah. So anyway, they curse the Lord, the God, billah, they curse the Prophet, they curse the deen, they do this. And I told that guy immediately, I said, Ya akhi, kafart. Kafart. You committed something that will put you out of the state of Islam. And he said, I don't mean it, slip of the tongue. I said, what do you mean you don't mean it? This is something really big. Anyway, not to waste any more of your time, but to go through the criteria. But what I'm saying is, it is really important to pay attention to what you're doing. A guy came to the masjid, and he said, I don't like the salah because each one of you will put his head right in the behind of the other people. Ya akhi, this is what Allah orders us to do. You're making mockery of this, you're being sarcastic of this. That will put you out of state of Islam, wal-iyadu billah. The Prophet ﷺ, just show you. The Prophet ﷺ was coming back from the Battle of Tabuk. And the Battle of Tabuk is very far. Tabuk is far from Medina, about 1,000 kilometers, or people know the distance. And those people, it is hot. It was in the midsummer, desert. So they got tired. So the Prophet ﷺ ordered them to sit and relax. So they sat down, so they ate, they went to sleep. Some of the hypocrites were with the Prophet ﷺ, or, wallahu a'lam, some of those, they have not been long as Muslims. They are new Muslims. But they were within the Muslimin. They passed by and they saw Abu Bakr, Umar, and the Prophet ﷺ laying down and taking a nap. They became sarcastic of them. They said, look at those people, they're good for nothing. Just, including the Prophet ﷺ. There are older people, they're good for nothing. They eat and they go to sleep. Jibreel alayhi salam came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and revealed the ayat. قُلْ أَبِ اللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ وَرَسُولِهِ كُنْتُمْ تَسْتَهْزِئُونَ لَقَدْ كَفَرْتُمْ بَعْدَ إِيمَانِكُمْ. By Allah and His signs and the Prophet of Allah, you're making fun and you're making mockery. You have committed kufr after you became a Muslim, after you became having iman. لَقَدْ كَفَرْتُمْ بَعْدَ إِيمَانِكُمْ. You see? So it's not easy just to have a mockery. So, having said this, so number one item, all of you as expected, a shirk that we talked about it last week. The shirk al-akbar. The shirk al-akbar is when we said, I'm going to repeat three most important things of the shirk, is to take criteria of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or any attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you give it to somebody else.
Bashir, I want to present you a question and then you answer me whenever you want, because it's within the context. You said anybody, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, that anybody makes fun of the Allah or his deen or the Prophet, that's it with the deen. What about when we question things or we try to reason? For example, I have listened and witnessed many discussions where people are trying to make sense as to why Rasulullah married a 12-year-old girl or a 9-year-old girl or a 10-year-old girl. One side is saying that she was too young, and the other side was saying that no, the history, the documentation was incorrect. Is this also forbidden? Are we allowed to do things like this?
First of all,
Try to make it fit our own reasoning and our own mind.
no. First of all, you can ask any question you want to ask. You can investigate anything you want to investigate, provided that you have the respect and the honesty of finding out and learning. Respect, sincerity or honesty, and your goal is to find information or to find the right information. Here we're talking about having fun mockery, doubting the act of the Prophet, accusing the Prophet ﷺ of adulterous or doing something wrong. This is different.
I know it's different, but I just didn't know if we
But
were
you can
allowed.
ask, no problem. Somebody can ask, you can ask. We can make a session for this. Why the Prophet ﷺ married Aisha radiallahu anha when she was too young. We can tell all the scholars' opinion, what happened, what age, and what, and all of it, and the circumstances. We can answer that. That will not put us out of state of Islam. But for you to come and jump into a judgment to criticize the Prophet ﷺ, that's out of the question. So a shirk, number one, is to take criteria from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or any attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you give it to somebody. Okay? Like you should make salah to Allah. You make salah for somebody. You're supposed to make dua for Allah. You make dua for somebody. You know, this is criteria of Allah. You ask somebody to heal you. You go to some grave or to somebody, he said, heal me. You know, by a power you have or whatever. You're supposed to call Allah. You're supposed to have relation with Allah. You're supposed to depend on Allah. You're supposed to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are all attributes of Allah. You should not give it to somebody else. Item number two of shirk, which is very important, to take a criteria belongs to a human being and giving it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That human being, they have wife, they have kids, they get tired, they go to sleep, they do that. If you claim any of those to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will be shirk. That will put the person out of state of Islam. The third type of shirk is to accuse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or to claim or to describe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with something that does not fit Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or you say on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say about Himself or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about Him. You say, تقولون على الله ما لا تعلمون. You claim to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala something. So those are three major criteria, and there are others. You could refer to the last week lecture if you want. It is on YouTube. Jazallah khair, Brother Hassan. He put those on YouTube, so you could go back and review it. So this is item number one that will put the person out of state of Islam. The second one is to put between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intercessors. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in many ayat of the Quran prevented this. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the people in Surah Al-Zumar, وَقَالُوا مَا نَعْبُدُهُمْ إِلَّا لِيُقَرِّبُونَ إِلَى اللَّهِ زُلْفًا. Some people, they put between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala some wali. All of you know the wali. Or the prophet. They can pray to the prophet. They make tawassul to the prophet. Or they could make tawassul for some scholar or somebody. Deceased people, you know, basically, mostly deceased people. All those people you see to the grave. The Shia, for example, that's a big things with them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us hidayah. The Shia, they always go with the A'immah, they go with this, they go with that, with the graves, and they believe that they're still capable of doing things. They are all dead, they're not capable of anything. They are incapable of anything. Period. And if you believe, then that will be shirk. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is an ayah I would like to quote you, ayah number 18 of Surah Yunus. وَيَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُمْ وَيَقُولُونَ هَؤُلَاءِ شُفَعَاؤُنَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. They worship. Some people said, what do you mean worship? If you make dua to somebody, that's a worship. Dua is a worship. It's a form of worship. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَيَعْبُدُونَ. Go back to the scholar who interpreted the Quran. You find out that the word here, يَعْبُدُونَ, means they are making a call. They're seeking refuge. وَيَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَيَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُم. Those people you're asking them, you're making sacrifice for them to heal you or to do something for you. They have nothing. They cannot do nothing for you. They cannot harm you. They cannot benefit you. And those people, they believe that those people, those deceased people, those qutub, wali, ghawth, whatever you want to call them, that they are going to be intercessors between you and Allah. This is shirk. It goes back to shirk, but we put it as special item over here. This is number 2. One time in Damascus, I caught one of those big sheikh, big, like he has students, they call him murideen, and everybody around him. They're going to one of those big wali in Syria. And they were calling on them, Ya Sheikh so and so aghithni, Ya Sheikh so and so, help me, Ya Sheikh so and so. He was doing this. So I came close to him and I sat down very quietly. When he saw me that I'm watching him, so he turned to me and he said, son, because the difference in age is too much. Do you have a problem? Do you need to ask the Sheikh, like you like this particular spot? Closer to the head of the grave, Do you like that spot? You want to come closer? I said, no. But I have a question for you. He said, what? I said, isn't he dead? He looked at me, he said, you are one of those. I understand now, I understand. And I told him, I don't know what you're talking about, but why don't you call Allah directly? He said, son, let me give you an example to make it clear in your mind. I said, okay. The reason I'm telling you this story because it's a powerful story. It makes sense. He said, you see this wire up there? I said, yeah. He said, that's high voltage, high current wire. I said, okay. He said, can you touch it? I said, no, I'll be dead in a minute. He said, right, I like that. So what do? We get a transformer. We put a transformer, and this transformer will transfer this high power, high voltage into a lower one. So if you can touch the lower line, you're not going to be dead or electrocuted. This guy is like a transformer between you and Allah. Allah is high voltage. You cannot touch Allah. You cannot reach Allah. You have to have a transformer. And this is the transformer. The wali is the transformer. I said to him, I want to be polite and I want to be respectful and I want to keep the conversation going. I said, should I believe you or should I believe Allah? I respect you and I like you. But I like the Quran better. He said, what did the Quran say? He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Ghafir, ayah number 60, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. He said that. How about me if I tell him you are a high voltage and high power, I cannot call you, I'm going to put a transformer between me and you? He said that. Should I believe him or should I believe you? He looked at me, he said, do you think you understand the ayah correctly? I said, this is what I understood, this is what the scholar said. If you have a different meaning, let me know. He said, brother, you understood, everything you understand is wrong. I said, okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every third of the night, He subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, هل من مستغفر فأغفر له. Is there a person who is asking for forgiveness for me to forgive him? Every third of the night, he keep repeating, هل من مستغفر فأغفر له. هل من داع فأستجيب له. Every third of the night, the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala will be in this sky on the last third of the night, and He will keep repeating this until the Fajr comes up. Why didn't He send Jibreel? Why didn't He send somebody? Why didn't He put a transformer? Now you're telling me that I don't understand this hadith of the Prophet, and the Sahaba all of it understood it, and the Sahaba all of them talked to it about it? And he said, son, I advise you I really advise you to leave before you get hurt. Leave before you get hurt. Tell Allah, brother, I'm hurt already. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me and you. And then I left. So what I'm trying to say is that what I'm talking about over here, everything I'm telling you is agreed upon by all the scholar of the Ummah. The Muslim of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they all agree on this point. If you're listening to YouTube or listening to somebody, which in my opinion you should not. Because before you listen to somebody, you need to have a solid information. You have to know exactly, then you will be able to differentiate between right and wrong. But now our youth, they're opening the YouTube and listening to everybody, and now they're coming all this confusion. And I have the silly examples all the time. If I want to go buy a ring of diamond, I have to have an expert. I really cannot tell the difference between a crystal or zircon or real diamond. I cannot. So when you cannot, you have to have an expert. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. So a person who is not equipped, does not have a solid information, you should not listen to somebody who may not be trustworthy. That's the advice. So this is item number 2, is when you put intercessors, shufa'a, between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is shirk. The third one, this is really becoming very popular nowadays, especially with the youth. It is very simple. من لم يكفر المشركين أو شك في كفرهم أو صحح ملتهم فقد كفر. The person who is in doubt about the mushrikeen to be kuffar, or he does not believe that this mushrikeen is kuffar, or he believes that they might be on the right path, this person will become kafir.
So in other words, if we say that the Shiite, they're Muslim too, they say la ilaha illallah, we came out of Islam?
For the Shia, brother, I would like to leave it on the side by itself. I need to talk about something more clear not to confuse the people or not to confuse the issue. The kuffar who believe in Allah Thalith Thalatha like the Christian. This is no doubt, you're supposed to believe it is kuffar. If you say, no, I'm talking to a bunch of kids, young people. And he said, Ya akhi, wallahi, this is an actual story. And they told me, Ya akhi, I want to live in peace. We're living here in America. We're living among Jews and Christians. I don't want to have enemy. I don't want to have animosity with them. Akhi, I don't want to tell them your deen is wrong. I don't want to tell them you're kuffar. And we live in peace together. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You have to believe that anybody who has a call different than the call of Islam, that's kufr. You have to believe that. Somebody may challenge the idea. But show me in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala where he said that. Okay. We show you in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have two criterias for your iman. In order for you to be a mu'min, you have to satisfy two criterias Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about in the Quran. What those criterias are? Listen carefully. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوِثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا وَاللَّهُ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. There's two conditions. يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ. You have to denounce الطاغوت. What is الطاغوت? What is the definition of الطاغوت? كل ما يعبد من غير الله فهو طاغوت. كل ما يخالف عقيدة لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله هو طاغوت. Anything that will be against or in contradiction of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah will be taghut. Anything that will be loved and worshipped and obeyed beside Allah, that's taghut. That's the definition of all the scholars. So first, number one, in order for you, استمسك بالعروة الوثقى, and the scholar said العروة الوثقى, Ibn Abbas wa Ibn Mas'ud رضي الله عنهما, لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. العروة الوثقى, لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. In order for you to grab العروة الوثقى, to have your hand tied, wrapped around لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله, you have to satisfy two conditions. تكفر بالطاغوت وتؤمن بالله. تؤمن بالله means تؤمن, to believe in the religion of Allah, to believe in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered you through the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to do. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. So you cannot say, I believe in Allah and I don't denounce taghut. It doesn't work. You did not fulfill the criteria. تفضل.
So it's very clear, the people in this country that are practicing other faith, Christianity, Judaism, they are non-believers. They are in kufr. Very clear. We have to say it. We have to admit it. That is. But does it give us the right to tell them that because you're a non-believer, you will go to hell?
Now, telling them is one story. What you believe inside your heart and your mind, that's what we're talking about. This is another thing. Okay? In your salah, in the fara'id only, 17 times a day, you say, غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, in the interpretation of it, غير المغضوب عليهم, the Jews, ولا الضالين, the Christian. So if you're reciting the Fatiha 17 times a day in your salah, are you telling me that you're going to recite something and believe something else? Doesn't work. You're supposed to be, that is your belief. Now, the other thing is, if I got in a conversation, direct conversation whether Jews or Christian, and he asked me directly, do you believe I am kafir? There is no diplomatic answer. My answer is yes. Because if you ask him, do you believe in your belief that I am kafir? He's going to tell you yes. So why would I be afraid? You're asking me yes. But there's a session at the end. Since we got into this, we have to talk about it. We have two rules. Rule number one, whatever condemnation we have and we are ordered by our religion, the condemnation is supposed to be for the act, not for the actor. Okay? This is very important for all of you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَقَدْ كَفَرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا Surah Al-Ma'idah, لَقَدْ كَفَرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ ثَالِثُ ثَلَاثَةٍ. Did he name them? Did he say Jean, Jacques, George, this and that? No. We're supposed to say the act. If the Jews or the Christian ask me, do you believe I am a kafir? My answer to him is, if you believe is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one of three, if you believe in the Trinity, or if you believe that Jesus is God, whoever believes Jesus is God is kafir. Whoever believes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Trinity is kafir. Make it known. We only make kufr to the act, not the actor. We have many hadith in the Sharia that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala condemned. عن جندب رضي الله عنه, the hadith reported by Imam Muslim. عن جندب رضي الله عنه, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam have condemned in al-khamr 10 people. شاربها وعاصرها ومعتصرها وحاملها والمحمولة إليه وآكل ثمنها, all of it. لعن الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala condemned. I see somebody is drinking alcohol. I am not supposed to tell him, may Allah condemn you. I should not do that. That's what the scholars said. I will tell him, Allah is condemning the person who drinks alcohol. I'm not naming him. I'm not talking to him. I'm telling him who Allah and the Prophet ﷺ had condemned. Okay? So this is important. So if somebody asks me, do you believe I am? I don't know who you are. I don't know what you really believe. But if you believe in the Trinity, that whoever believes in the Trinity is kafir. Whoever believes that Jesus is God is kafir. Whoever, and I could tell him all the points of cover. You know? I can if he wants. But this is the idea. But for us to tell him, you are kafir, the scholar said no. Okay? Now, so this is point number 3. Point number 4. Anyone who believes in one of those things that we are talking about will become out of state of Islam. This is what we call al-umur al-mukhrija min al-millah. Number 4. If somebody believes, and by the way, if you're watching the news nowadays, there are so many people out of state of Islam, and they are praying in the masjid, and they are fasting Ramadan, and they are paying zakat today. You could watch in the news today that Tunis or Morocco or somebody, they're trying to legalize, or they're trying to disturb the wealth, of a deceased person. They're trying to make the boy equal the girl. The son and the daughter, they get the same amount. Those are changing the rules of Allah. Okay? This is kufr. Even if they go to the masjid and pray, even if they do whatever they want to do. They made an issue, and that's the funny part. They were in the parliament discussing to legalize alcohol. And in the news, it was on the news, all of it. And on the news they said they're taking a break because of Adhan al-Dhuhr. Nama. They're changing the order of Allah. They're changing the legislation of Allah. They are trying to make what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly said it is haram. They're trying to make it halal, and they take a break because it's time for Adhan al-Dhuhr, time for the call for prayer, for Dhuhr prayer. Actuality. This is to show you how much ignorance that those people have in the deen of Islam. In the deen of Islam, if you know that you are making halal haram, you become kafir. If you know, you must know. Rule number 2, I forgot, or almost forgot. Rule number 1, you do not make the person, the actor, a kafir. You make the act kufr. Rule number 2, you have to teach him the right thing. This is what the scholar said, إقامة الحجة عليه. Somebody might be doing something wrong that will put him out of the state of Islam, okay? But he doesn't know. So what you need to do is, you need to bring him and teach him what Islam in the right way, with the proof, trying to convince him. After you show him the proof, if he decided to stay on the same statement before, then you could call that's kufr. Okay? But we have a big issue among the scholar, and that require, a lecture by itself, whether the person يُعْذَرُ الْمَرْءُ بِجَهْلِهِ or not. Will be pardoned a person because of his ignorance or not. The rule in Islam, the ignorant will be pardoned for his act. يُعْذَرُ الْمَرْءُ بِجَهْلِهِ. This is a rule. But this is just the title, and it has a lot under it, needs to be taught, and that's for different issue and different lecture. So we said, number 4, if you believe that there is a guidance or ruling is better than the ruling of Islam. If you really believe that there's a ruling or legislation that is better than the legislation of Islam, you become kafir. And that's why I'm talking about those people who they believe if they give the daughter the same thing like the son, they change the ruling of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you believe that this system will be better than the system of Islam, they will become kuffar. They become kuffar for 2 reasons. First of all, because they believe that there is a system better than the system of Islam, or the legislation better than the legislation of Islam, number 1. Number 2, they become kuffar because they are changing the ruling of Allah, and they are rejecting the ruling of Allah, and they're trying to come with the ruling themselves. Number 3, they become kuffar because they assign themselves the right to legislate beside Allah. That's a 3rd way for them to become kuffar. So one mistake can put a person, out of so many directions.
Sheikh, quick question. Let's say that they passed the law in Tunisia, and they said, okay, boys and girls, they should get equal inheritance. I understand that those who passed the law, the new jurisprudence, they become kafir. What about the recipient of the inheritance to obey? Do they get out of Islam too?
Again, rule number 2, you have to teach them. If you teach them that this is against the ruling of Allah, they have to know. You cannot make somebody kafir if he is ignorant. This is the ruling.
No, that wasn't my question. I'm talking about as a citizen of Tunisia, my father died.
The media has to know what is being done. The media has to know that changing the rules and regulation of Allah is kufr. If those people accept it, after they know it is kufr, they become kuffar. You see? Because if I legislate for you, Adi ibn Hatim walked into the Prophet ﷺ with a cross in his chest, big one, made out of gold. And the Prophet ﷺ was reciting the ayah, اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله. This hadith in the Bukhari. Immediately he stopped. He said, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they did not make us Lord and gods. So what you're saying is wrong. He's telling the Prophet. The Prophet very simply said, didn't you legislate for them? Didn't you make things for them halal and haram? He said, yes. He said, and they accepted that? Yes. فَذَلِكَ تَأْلِيهُهُمْ إِيَّاكُمْ. When I legislate and you accept, I'm making myself God beside Allah. Because legislation is a criteria of Allah. So when I'm legislating, I'm becoming kafir because I made myself God beside Allah. He legislates and I legislate. And worse than that, I'm rejecting his legislation. I'm making a new legislation. On top of that, I am believing that my legislation is better than his legislation. See, 3 problems. So I become kafir with that. You believe in me, you believe in my legislation, knowing that my legislation is in contradiction of the legislation of Allah. That means you are making me your Lord. According to the hadith of Adi ibn Hatim, according to the hadith of the Prophet. But the difference is that we need to educate the media, the people, sha'b, the people. That we're going to tell them this is the legislation of Allah, and those people are changing the legislation of Allah, and whoever changed the legislation of Allah knowingly, he will become kafir. Now you know, they make sure that they know, they understand, and they say, I don't care, this is more beneficial for me, it makes more sense. Inna Allah wa inna raji'un. They become kuffar. Okay?
How about somebody that just receives out of some weaknesses or some desperation? Let's say they get the whatever that is. For let's say the female and she receives equal amount as her brother, but she doesn't believe this legislation, but she just takes this for some weaknesses that she has for the extra money, but she disagrees deep down and she knows this is wrong.
No. Please, any question has to be logical. Nobody forces you to take what you don't want to take. But there's a law. They passed the law that this take place. You know, I have some families in Syria. We have laws in Syria that is against the Sharia. When people are doing it by the court, they come back home, brothers and sisters and this and that, they said, this is wrong, let's do it the Islamic way. And so they gave each other. They do it Islamically. You know, so nobody forces you to take.
So to clarify, if in US they passed a law that says that the parent has to divide the wealth equally among the brothers and sisters, if they passed a law, even though we live in this country, we are not obligated to follow that law. Or we can be punished if we don't follow that law. They will come to us and they will come for us. Or are you saying that we have to somehow manage by giving it back to each other inside?
Akhi, if this is the law and we must take it, we take it, we come back home. The sister will tell the brother, they gave me equal to you, I don't get equal to you. My share is supposed to be 37 than 50. Here's 12 and a half. You know, and put it in a silly way, with all respect. They passed the law, liquor is halal. Am I going to go drink liquor? Okay, but they passed the law.
But that's a choice, you see. In this country, if they pass a law for taxation, for example, because there are laws that we are followed by the IRS. If they pass a law that requires a wealth distribution in a certain way, you are obligated to do that. If they pass a law saying liquor is halal or whatever, people can just say, I don't want to drink at all. Doesn't matter if it's halal or haram. People can decide whatever they
In front of the law, take it. Go back home and settle it right. Go back home and set it right. You know, like I am dealing with you. After I dealt with you, I found out that I'm wrong. Don't I have to come back to you and say, brother, I still owe you $50? Or خلاص you accept and I accept. ويلا والحمد لله كله يروح لحاله. I will come back to you. Because it is wrong. And that's why Al-Imam Al-Awza'i radiallahu anhu said, he said, haram is haram. If 1,000 people said it is okay. Haram is haram. You're still having the haram. You're supposed to return it. You know, nobody will vote. Yes, ya akhi.
The question was like, if I don't want to return it, but I know it is haram, then this becomes form of stealing. It doesn't really become form of, accepting the legislation. It's just, I'm weak, I have the money now, I don't want to give it to my brother.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a haram, it's like a stealing.
Oh.
It's not that I disbelieve.
خلاص.
I believe in the...
يعني حرامي.
Exactly.
يعني حرامي. يعني حرامي.
حرام وضغطت كافر.
يعني سرع. خلاص حرامي. Okay. That's معصية. تفضل يا أخي. Speak loud, brother. I don't hear.
If anybody wants to go to somebody in trouble and he is a good person, he says, pray for me to God, is it okay or no?
والله ما فهمت.
We just talked about that.
Can you make dua for somebody else? If somebody comes to you and says, make dua for me, can you make dua for that person?
Yes, because I'm alive.
Okay.
I can make dua for you. But you go to the grave
Grave? No.
and Sheikh Adnan over there, you said, yeah, Sheikh Adnan, we know that you are a good person. Please, my wife is going to give a birth. Make it easy for her. That's kufr bawah. Okay? Now, barakallahu fikum. Now, and I'm sorry, somebody is telling me that some people are falling asleep in class, trying to make it more active. I don't know how to make it more active. You make it more active. I have delivered information. Information sometimes is dry. Okay, so you cannot believe that there is a system better than the system of Islam. Number 5, if somebody hates, a lady came to me here in the corridor and her hijab was not very good. I mean, she's having something, but hair is coming out of everywhere.
Convertible hijab.
Huh?
It was convertible.
Convertible?
Yeah.
Okay. Jazakallah khair ya wasi'. You should be here every day because you're waking everybody up. Okay. So, she having convertible hijab. And I said, sister, you are in the masjid, you should have respect and, for the masjid. She said, brother, I really hate hijab. I said, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. You need to come to the class. If you hate any legislation of Allah, that's statement of kufr. If you hate the Sharia, that's statement of kufr. You could, for Brother Fadi and the other brother, you could violate. There will be sinful act. But to hate, no. And I told her immediately, I said, sister, to hate any legislation in the Sharia, that is a statement of kufr. I didn't tell her you are kafira. I told her this is a statement of kufr. Don't say you hate it. You say, I love what Allah ordered, but I don't want to do it. Okay. You're a sinful person. There's a big difference between being sinful and being kafir. Sinful, you die on that sinful act. You go over there, you get beaten up a little bit, you could barbecue a little bit, and then you might be saved. But you die on the statement of kufr, khalas, hatabu jahannam, perpetually in the hellfire. Wal'iyadu billah. Okay? So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, in ayah number 9 of Surah Muhammad, ذلك بأنهم كرهوا ما أنزل الله فأحبط أعمالهم. Because they hate what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislate, and those people, they got bankrupt. أحبط أعمالهم. Most of us do not understand fully the word أحبط. Every time you see the word أحبط in the Quran, every time, no exceptions. Every time you see أحبط, أحبطت, حبطت, all of those derivatives for the same verb, حبط, means bankrupt, nothing. That means if they die on that act, straight to the hellfire, perpetually. أحبط in the Quran, take it out and put bankrupt. You're bankrupt. ذلك بأنهم كرهوا ما أنزل الله فأحبط أعمالهم. They have no iman, they have no good deed, they have nothing. Okay? That's why it's kufr. If somebody hates any legislation of Allah. You don't hate it, you love it. I love all the legislation of Allah, but I may violate. Some people drink alcohol, he's weak. Ya akhi, alcohol is haram. He said, Wallahi, ya akhi, I know. I know it is haram. I know it's punishable. I know it's something is not good. I know it is the mother of all the evil things, like it came in the hadith. I know all of this. But I am weak. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me or help me to get rid of it or to quit. Khalas. You are a sinful Muslim. Some guy came to me and he said, Ya akhi, there is no khamr except the khamr of grapes. I said, you are in dangerous situation. You are in dangerous situation because you're changing, you're manipulating. You don't understand. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said khamr, you go to the definition of the Prophet. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not say khamr, the grape wine. No. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-khamru ma khamar al-aql. Anything plays with your mind. That's why we call cocaine, crack, the darab al-sukhr that they're selling in the streets. All of these are haram. Why? Because they alter your mind, they alter your decision making. You're not normal. Al-khamru ma khamar al-aql. So al-khamr could be anything, could be something you sniff, something you drink, something you whatever. All of it is khamr. But if the Arabs at that time, they didn't know any kind of khamr, they didn't know any kind of wine except the wine that made out of grape, that does not limit the definition. Because the Prophet ﷺ did not say only from the grape. Al-khamru, zalik, the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith reported by Al-Sunan, ma askara. He didn't use the khamr, used another word. Ma askara kathiruhu faqaliluhu haram. What makes you drunk, if you drink a lot of it, if it makes you drunk, then the little bit of it is haram.
Sheikh, quick question. I understand that when you're talking about activities, amal, that if you do, you don't wear hijab, you say, I know that it's the rule and I accept the ruling, but I'm not going to do it. That's a sinner. What happens to the pillar of Islam? What happened to not performing the pillars, like the prayer, like the fasting? What if we intentionally not perform it, or to perform it, intentionally avoid it, because we don't want to do it.
The,
We have the same
the
kind of
majority
freedom.
of the scholar of Islam, the majority of the scholar of Islam, please understand the word majority. That means there's somebody else said something different. The majority of the scholar of Islam, they said we have to differentiate between behavioral things and believing things. We have to differentiate between what you really believe and what you practice. I really believe the salah is obligatory. I really believe that I need to perform it. But I am lazy, or I am at work, or whatever. But he believed in its application. Al-Imam Ahmad radiallahu anhu made a long letter, Risala al-Imam Ahmad. He talked about the people of Madhab Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. He said exactly what I'm telling you. If you really believe that the salah is obligatory and you should do it, and you will be punished if you don't do it, and you still don't do it because you're lazy, or you are a Muslim, that you are a sinful Muslim. Okay? And that goes with all the obligatory things. Okay. So those scholars, they said, al-kufru kufran, wa-shirku shirkan. Al-kufr is two types. Kufr will put the person out of the state of Islam, and kufr will not put him out of the state of Islam. Okay? Understanding this, then they can interpret all the hadith that comes. Okay? A shirk, the same thing. We talk about shirk al-akbar, that will put the person out of Islam. Shirk asghar, shirk, but that will not put the Muslim out of the state of Islam. And over there, they call it also, they changed the names of it. They call it الشرك الاعتقادي والشرك العملي. Shirk by belief, shirk by practice. Shirk by practice, you're still a Muslim, but you are a sinner, sinful Muslim. Shirk i'tiqadi, you're not Muslim anymore. That's out of Islam. Okay? So that's a brief answer to that question. You know, I need to get done. Okay, number 6. We talked about it earlier. To make fun or to make mockery of Allah, the Prophet, the signs of Allah, the legislation of Allah, the rituals of the Sharia. All of it. Anybody make mockery of this, of any of those, will become kafir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in ayah 65 and 66, which I recited in the beginning, قُلْ أَبِاللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ وَرَسُولِهِ كُنْتُمْ تَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. By Allah and His signs and His verses and His Prophet, you were making fun and you're being sarcastic. Do not give excuses. لَقَدْ كَفَرْتُمْ بَعْدَ إِيمَانِكُمْ. In other words, the scholar said there will not be excuse accepted from you. لَا تَعْتَذِرُوا. There will not be an excuse accepted from you. قَدْ كَفَرْتُمْ بَعْدَ إِيمَانِكُمْ. You are kuffar after you were believers. Ayah number 65 and 66 of Surah At-Tawbah. Number 7. To help the kuffar against the Muslim. Okay? And this will go, people will talk about it in detail under the banner of Al-Wala'u wal-Bara. Okay? Al-Wala'u wal-Bara. Al-Wala', to become allegiant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet and to the Sharia. This is wala. And the opposite of it is al-bara, to declare yourself innocent of the Sharia and the people who are following the Sharia. Or they said al-wala'u lillah wal-bara'u min al-a'da. To be on the side of Allah and the Prophet and the Sharia, and to denounce the side of al-kufr. Okay? Like what I told you earlier, فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. This is al-wala wal-bara. To be on the side of Allah, to love what Allah loves and the Prophet, to hate what Allah hates and the Prophet, to do what is ordered by the legislation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept it, to love it, to work for it, to invite for it, to invite people for it, to explain it, to live it, to die for it. This is all wala. Al-bara is to denounce al-kufr and all forms of kufr, to fight it, to denounce it, to put it down, to explore it, to expose it, and to warn people against it. Okay? So if your heart with the kuffar, you're helping them against the Muslim, this is kufr. You cannot be on the side of the kuffar against the Muslim and Islam, against Islam and the Muslim. You cannot be. Okay? So Allah.
What about all the Muslim soldiers that are fighting? American Muslim soldiers that are fighting over in Iraq and in different Muslim countries?
They should not. They should not. The only way they can fight, if there is a gun on their head. Either to save myself, I'm gonna die, or I have to follow the order. The scholar is two types we have. Sheikh Abdullah Azzam, rahmatullah alayh, all of you know Sheikh Abdullah Azzam, is the head of the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. Sheikh Abdullah Azzam, rahmatullah alayh, he wrote a chapter in one of his books. He said, I will die before I shoot a Muslim. And he has a very strong, what they call it, dalil, a strong text. The strong text that the Prophet ﷺ said, if a Muslim came to you with his sword, this is the hadith of the Prophet, if a Muslim attacked you to kill you, the Prophet ﷺ said, kun bi Abdullah al-Maqtul wa la takun Abdullah al-Qatil. Be Abdullah, the killed one, and don't be Abdullah, the killer. Okay? So he took that in his book and he said, I am not going to kill a Muslim. If that kafir will put a gun on me and said, you shoot or I'll shoot you, he said, shoot me. Now, that's his ruling. Other scholars said, to save your life and the weakness of the person is acknowledged in Islam. For me to be weak is acknowledged. Some people are weak. I cannot die. I don't want to die. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot. Some of the scholars said the ithm, the fault, the crime will be on the guy, not on me. Because my heart and my mind and my belief, I will never shoot him. But since I am forced and I am weak, I did it. Under normal circumstances, I would not do it. And they take from that one Ammar ibn Yasir. When he came to the Prophet ﷺ crying, he said, Ya Rasulullah, they tortured me so much, I could not take it anymore. The only way to save myself is to curse you or to speak bad about you. And I did. The Prophet ﷺ did not tell him you became a kafir. We just passed by it. You curse the Prophet, you make fun or be mockery or you put the Prophet down, that's a statement of kufr. But the Prophet ﷺ said, how is your heart? كيف تجد قلبك? And immediately said, مطمئن بالإسلام يا رسول الله. مطمئن بالإيمان. مطمئن. I truly believe nothing, no doubt. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, فَإِنْ عَادُوا فَعُدْ. If they came again to torture you, asking you to touch me, to speak about me in such a way, do it. He gave him a permission. And that's why here the scholar, they took that weakness is acknowledged in Islam. So if you do things out of weakness or out of fear, then that's not be countable on you. Wallahu a'lam. So we have those. Now, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Ma'idah, ayah number 51, وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُمْ مِنْكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. The person who really loves the kuffar and take them as allies, يَتَوَلَّهُمْ التَّوَلِّي الْوِلَايَةِ is to take them allies. And if you take the kuffar allies, that means you're with them, you're helping them, you are on their side, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, He is one of them. And Allah will not guide the transgressor. Okay? So this is it. Number 8, nobody can violate the Sharia or pass by the Sharia or change the rules and regulation of the Sharia. No one. No one. I am heading to one of those big Sufis. His name is Haqqani. All of you could know him. Habib al-Jafri. All of you know Habib al-Jafri. He went to him and kissed his hand and he said, give me ijaza, to become Sufi like you. And this guy does not pray. And he speaks so bad, viciously. He's about 90 some years old. His name Haqqani, I forgot the first name. And he believes he's wali. He has this green turban and all of this. And he's speaking bad, very bad language. One of the guys sitting there, and he said, you're speaking bad about some of the Muslims. You could find it on YouTube. And he said, I am in a stage. The right one will only write, the left one does not write. That means there is no sayyi'at will be recorded against him. Only the hasanat.
Oh, he's going to be,
And all of his deed is hasanat, mashallah.
he'll be very surprised.
He's going to be astonished, most surprised. Now, first of all, wallahi, we don't hate anybody. We ask hidayah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everybody. I don't like him to be wrong. I don't like him to go to hellfire. If Allah decided to put him in hellfire, that's the decision of Allah. But I hate for somebody to go to hellfire. I want everybody to go to paradise. Paradise is too big, akhi. Take everybody. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said a very, very powerful ayah in Surah Al-Ma'idah number 80. تَرَى كَثِيرًا مِّنْهُمْ. You will see a lot of the Muslims or the people. يَتَوَلَّوْنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. A lot of the people, they stick their nose with the kuffar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَبِئْسَ مَا قَدَّمَتْ لَهُمْ أَنفُسُهُمْ. لَبِئْسَ مَا قَدَّمَتْ لَهُمْ أَنفُسُهُمْ. What a bad thing that you have done for yourself. لَبِئْسَ مَا قَدَّمَتْ لَهُمْ أَنفُسُهُمْ أَنْ سَخِطَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ وَفِي الْعَذَابِ هُمْ خَالِدُونَ. سَخِطَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will condemn them, and in the tortureness and in the chastisement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're going to be there forever, perpetually. Ayah number 80 of Surah Al-Ma'idah, very powerful ayah, read it. Okay, nobody can stay away from the Sharia or get out of the Sharia. This is number 8. Number 9, somebody does not want to know nothing about the Sharia. Somebody does not practice, does not learn, does not care, he lives on the side. This person, they call him kufr al-i'rad, to neglect. He's neglecting the Sharia, he's neglecting the rules and regulation, he's neglecting the deen, he's neglecting everything. They call it in the Sharia, in the book of the Aqidah, they call it kufr al-i'rad.
What's the difference between him and a jahil?
And what?
What's the difference between somebody who neglects knowledge and a jahil, somebody who's ignorant?
Nothing.
All right.
Okay, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He used the same word in the Quran. وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مَنْ ذُكِّرَ بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِ ثُمَّ أَعْرَضَ عَنْهَا إِنَّا مِنَ الْمُجْرِمِينَ مُنْتَقِمُونَ. Ayah number 22 of Surah Al-Sajdah. What is having more crime than a person, you tell him that this is the Sharia and he neglected and he lived about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also in Surah Taha, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي, the one who lives apart, neglect all the Sharia. وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ القِّيَامَةِ أَعْمَى, and the rest of the ayah. Number 10 and the last one, التألي على الله, to force your opinion on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have a couple of hadith of those. Inshallah, we make khatira, we will talk about them. سبحانك الله وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. I have some copies for anybody who would like to know about, from the Arabic point of view.